What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 64 of the Game Room Podcast. I'm your host, Rome, alongside Dev.
Hey, what's up?
It's been a few weeks, Dev. We
A little break.
had a little break, hectic stuff going on. But we're back now. The fuck happened? I don't know, man. We're going to be getting into a lot of it today. Really packed show. Talking Xbox, talking Assassin's Creed Shadows, talking Square Enix, Nintendo. We're going to be all over it tonight, so let's just get right into it with our topic of the show, which, like I said, what the hell is going on with Xbox? So the news broke last week that Xbox was shutting down 4 game studios, including Tango Gameworks and Arcane Austin. The following comes from Insider Gaming. Microsoft and Xbox are shutting down 4 studios, according to Bloomberg's Jason Schreier. Those studios were, or are, Arcane Austin, Tango Gameworks, Alpha Dog Studios, and Roundhouse Games. Arcane Austin and Roundhouse Games both recently developed and launched Redfall last year, a game that received mixed reviews since launch. Tango Gameworks' most recent title was the very well-received Hi-Fi Rush, which came out also last year, while also being the studio behind Ghostwire Tokyo and the Evil Within franchises. Lastly, Alpha Dog Studio is known primarily for their mobile games. In an email obtained by IGN, Xbox Game Studios head Matt Booty said that the decision comes due to a reprioritization of titles and resources at Microsoft. Today, I'm sharing changes we are making to our Bethesda and ZeniMax teams, he said in the email. These changes are grounded in prioritizing high-impact titles and further investing in Bethesda's portfolio of blockbuster games and beloved worlds, which you have nurtured over many decades. To double down on these franchises and invest in build new ones requires us to look across the business to identify the opportunities that are best positioned for success. The reprioritization of titles and resources means a few teams will be realigned to others, and that some of our colleagues will be leaving us. Booty continues to say that some members of the team at Arcane Austin will be moving to other studios within Bethesda, while the most recent update to Redfall will be the game's last, as all development is being ended on the project. These changes are not a reflection of the creativity and skill of the talented individuals at these teams, or the risks they took to try new things, Booty said in the email. I acknowledge that these changes are also disruptive to the various support teams across ZeniMax and Bethesda that bring our games to market. We are making these tough decisions to create capacity to increase investment in other parts of our portfolio and focus on our priority games. Dev, so firstly, I mean, look, we're not gonna be talking about all these studios. The big two obviously are Arcane Austin and Tango Gameworks. So I want to kind of dial in on something Matt Booty said, right? So Matt Booty says, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this as we get on the show, but I kind of want to get your initial takes on. He talks about, how these are not a reflection of the creativity and skill or the games that these teams made, and that he doesn't let me find the quote real quick. He basically is talking about that, the creativity of these teams put out into these games is not the reason that these studios were closing.
Which makes sense, I would assume. Hi-Fi Rush did pretty well for Xbox. It was a game that they marketed pretty heavily.
It's the best game that they've put out on a first-party capacity in a long time.
Yeah, so it makes sense that it's not the game's fault or the quality of the game they put out. Even with Redfall, I know Redfall is on the opposite spectrum of that, but they're working on it.
They were working on it, yeah.
Yeah, they were working on it. So it's like, besides financially, what other reasons is there?
Yeah, I'm not really 100% sure. I mean, yeah, we're going to get into more of it. They also say, so the Roundhouse Games team will move to ZeniMax Online Studios. However, there was no mention in the email about anyone from Tango or Alpha Dog moving to other teams. Insider Gaming reached out to Microsoft to comment on the studios. That's just the email, right? Yeah, it's just the email. Yeah, I mean, my initial reaction was honestly outrage, and I'm still pissed off about it. I mean, I'm just going to be completely real about it. I make it well known that the Xbox is my ecosystem and platform of choice. But I mean, for me, this was unacceptable, and this was a big moment where, these changes and these calls, maybe, they probably are coming from Microsoft, not from Xbox. This is something that's coming from the top down, where these cuts are I do believe that. At the end of the day, though, I think that the heads of Xbox, Phil Spencer, Matt Booty, Aaron Greenberg, Sarah Bond, these closings make them all liars. They're all liars, every single one of them. For what, it's just the things that they've said in the past. Whether it was Aaron Greenberg saying the Hi-Fi Rush was a success by all of their metrics, well, it couldn't have been. There's no way that the studio puts out your a successful game for you, your best game in, probably since Gears 5. That was the last game of that caliber that you put out, first party wise. And then you're closing Tango. Arcane Austin, same thing. I understand they were working on Redfall, but it wasn't a great game, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I just that just blows me away. And then the clip going around was, and I should have had you set it up, but there was a clip by Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond talking in the Xbox 20th anniversary documentary they did a couple years ago, and they're talking about Lionhead, the Fable developer, and why it closed and how they said they were looking to avoid those mistakes, and then they did the exact same thing with Tango Gameworks. It's just closing studios and instead of letting them make the games that they're good at. And Phil, the things he said over the years, a lot of them now seem like lies, and just it's not a good look for them. And I understand it may come from on high from Microsoft, but I mean, it's an identity problem that I think Xbox is dealing with right now, which we'll get into a little bit about kind of mixed messaging and all of that. But let's kind of segment off into some other news about this. So Redfall, like we were talking about, it's going to be getting no further updates. In an email to staff announcing that Redfall developer Arcane Austin will be closed, Microsoft announced the studio's troubled vampire shooter will receive no further updates. Redfall's previous update will be its last as we end all development on the game. The game and its servers will remain online for players to enjoy, and we will provide make-good offers to players who purchase the Hero DLC. The DLC referred to in the email was included in the $99.99, so $100 bite back edition of the game. This included the Hero Pass, which was originally promised to include 2 extra heroes. That content has now been canceled. So we're talking about.
To me, this is far worse. Like,
yeah, this is unacceptable. This is unacceptable.
Yeah, this part I don't like. You have to at least one of the offers needs to be giving them their money back. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, you can make the other offers, whatever it's going to be, Game Pass, a free game, whatever it is. But getting your money back should be an option because, yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Real quick, want to go over to the chat. What's up to Jeff from over on the Broken Tables podcast, our sister channel, who gave he and his wife gave birth to their son.
Congratulations.
Yes, he needs sleep.
Yeah, you shouldn't be. Get off the internet. Go to sleep.
Well, wait till we're done and then go to sleep.
Leave it up.
Yeah, leave it up. Hit the like button, subscribe.
We'll soothe you to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. For me, this is just an unacceptable thing. I mean, the make good offer. My initial reaction is like, that you mean a refund, right? You better be refunding your customers. Like, in all honesty, I bet you it's probably just like some offers for like Game Pass. Which for me, that's not a make good. To me, it's you refund. You give people their money back, and not just the money for the DLC, for the whole $100.
Yeah.
Like you don't, like you're just ripping off your customers, and it's just terrible.
It at least needs to be an option. If you're gonna give out games, some people might want Game Pass or whatever. That's fine, and getting your money back should be an option because that's.
Yeah. So to carry on to a previous point I made about a lot of the head of Xbox is really coming off as just liars. In June 2023, Xbox Game Studios boss Matt Booty told Axios that there were no plans to close the Texas-based studio and that support of the game would continue following its poor reception at launch. That is the plan right now, he said at the time. They are hard at work on updates and continued content for Redfall. That content we will never see. Booty claimed Redfall was getting good play in Xbox Game Pass. It was a miss, but how much of a miss? I want to support them and be able to keep working to deliver the game they had in mind. That also comes off as a lie. So just ripping off customers is never good. It's really unacceptable, and they need to do better. I mean, we're beyond the point of needing to do better. That's just Let's move over to some reactions from developers, including the director of Arcane Leon, the other Arcane studio that was not closed.
Mm-hmm. They're the ones who did Deathloop, I assume.
Yeah, Deathloop. They're working on Blade right now. Yeah, that's that studio. Dishonored, I believe, was Arcane Leon.
I think Thief was Arcane Austin.
I'm not 100% sure on that. Like 2023 before 2024 is a year full of disastrous cuts in the game industry. And the problem only continues to get worse as we were talking about the closings, including Arcane, Austin, Tango Gameworks, Alpha Dog, and Roundhouse. To absolutely nobody's surprise, pretty much everyone is pissed off about this, especially since Microsoft just finished a $69 billion Activision Blizzard King acquisition in October and already cut roughly 2,000 gaming jobs earlier this year. As Zachary Body writes, Xbox likes to position itself as a safe place for developers to take risks and explore creative games. But apparently, even something as successful as the acclaimed Hi-Fi Rush isn't good enough to save you from layoffs if your games aren't optimized for maximum long-term shareholder value. Amidst all the devastated reactions to this terrible decision are comments from various game developers, which we are about to get into. So Dinga Bakaba, again, this is the director of Arcane Leon, said, "This is absolutely terrible. Permission to be human. To any executive reading this, a friendly reminder that video games are an entertainment cultural industry, and your business as a corporation is to take care of your artists, entertainers, and help them create value for you. Don't throw us into gold fever gambits. Don't use us as straw men for miscalculations / blind spots. Don't make our work environments Darwinist jungles. You say we make you proud when we make a good game. Make us proud when times are tough. We know you can. We've seen it before. And like this is just such a true statement. I mean, at the end of the day, like, and I know over in our Discord, like, you know, Ty, I don't think Ty is here at the moment, but Ty and I and we all kind of go back and forth over like what matters most, you know, whether it be the money and you know the shareholders and the artistic value of it. But at the end of the day, I completely agree with Dinga here, where it's just the corporation's job should be to protect the artists, so the artists can make the product and give value and give them the money that they need. And I think by not taking care of them, you're doing a poor job. So I thought that was great. Let's see. He does go on to say, for now, great teams are sunsetting before our eyes again, and it's a fucking gut stab. Leon is safe, but please be tactful and discerning about all this, and respect affected folks' voice, and leave it room to be heard. It's their story to tell, their feelings to express. Inside baseball, but if I read immersive sim curse from the community, especially from a fellow dev, I swear to God, please let's talk about the real challenges instead of rehashing irrational anxieties of the past. I mean, yeah, similar sentiments have been echoed across social media by other developers, with all shocked, saddened, and in many cases angry at the news. So this is how it ends. Unfortunately, I don't have the words. Wrote Tango Gameworks creative director John Hannes. But at least thank you to everyone who supported us. What a good partner Microsoft has been, said Crytek senior level designer and former Arcane dev Julian Avil. Sarcastically wrote before continuing, gutted for all the lovely people working in these studios. Fuck this. Kelsey Gamble, another ex-Arcane developer at Crytek, voiced, okay, I'm just going to come out with it. Fuck Microsoft. Fuck big corporates. I don't even give a shit about palatability online anymore. You have ruined the lives of my friends and ex-colleagues and the people I love. When is it guillotine time? Seriously. Arcane Austin saved my life during the pandemic, wrote William Pham, Arcane Austin's quality assurance lead. It wasn't just a legendary studio, it was the people. Kind, talented, giving, and culture we fostered. That's what we lost today. Another one. I don't understand the closure of Tango, remarked a confused John Pilestite, the CEO of Helldivers 2 developer Arrowhead Game Studios. I mean, why close instead of divest? Surely the team would have easily been able to find a new home. Cyan Inc.'s lead game designer Harrison Pink. Bro, I'm so tired. So tired of this. What's the point of working your ass off, succeeding at creating a game that everyone loves, and is financially successful, only to get fucking vaporized to juice some stocks? Like, why even bother, man? And yeah, this is just kind of the sentiment of developers around the industry, and like, and how can you not feel this way? Like I said earlier in the show that like I'm a huge Xbox fan, and like I'm going down with the ship. Like I'm not gonna divest the time I've spent on Xbox. Like I've already spent a lot of time, decades in Xbox. So I'm going down with the ship, and but like rightfully so. Like fuck Microsoft, man. Like it's just disgusting stuff. Like I can understand. I can't even say that. Like there's some justification sometimes for like the last round of layoffs they made, like where it's like, hey, well, we have people that are doing the same jobs in Activision and in Xbox, and so redundancy makes sense. But like, Hi-Fi Rush was an amazing game. It was a critically acclaimed game, a game that Microsoft wants to continue to bring in, which we'll get into later. But that studio didn't do enough. Like I don't know. Like right after this happened, like I'm not gonna lie, I went on Twitter and I didn't expect a response because I'm just some dude on Twitter. But I like added like Phil Spencer and Matt Booty. I was like, so like when Hellblade 2 doesn't put up Call of Duty numbers next week, are you guys gonna close Ninja Theory? Like and that's the expectation and that's the reality of it. Where it's like, where does the line stop then?
Yeah.
Like, okay, so like,
how good does the game have to be for its studio to be safe?
Yeah, like does it have to put up Call of Duty numbers? Is that the metric? Or like, does it have to put up Fallout numbers? Like, and like, I don't know. And again, Aaron Greenberg a year ago said, "Hey, Hi-Fi Rush, it was a success in every metric that we care about." Well, it's like, so if this game was a success, you were either lying then or you're lying now. Like, I don't understand. Like, to me, that's bad business. I don't care how much you're worrying about like stocks and growth and all that. shutting down a studio that made a game that did great by all of your metrics just doesn't seem like a smart business tactic to me in a business sense. Like, take the art out of it, take Hi-Fi Rush out of it. If they're a studio, a unit of a team in your company is doing their job, and you look at the work that they've done and said, oh, hey, this is surpassing every metric that we have that we care about, you can't, like, what's the justification to turn around and close the studio?
Yeah.
So, again, either Aaron Greenberg was lying then, and it was not a success in the metrics they care about, or he's lying now. Like, which is it? I just think it's just generally unacceptable. Well, players have also found it unacceptable, Devro. Would you believe me if I told you that a nuclear war has started over this?
Is it World War III?
It might as well be. Recently, in Fallout 76, players have found Phil Spencer, and they nuked his camp. Clips of Fallout, and I we're making light of it, but because it is hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna get back into the serious stuff, but I felt like it was a good idea to kind of break up the negative vibes. But recently, clips of Fallout 76 players stumbling upon the one and only Phil Spencer in game surfaced online. Players rubbed shoulders with the Microsoft gaming CEO in a series of short videos, encouraging him to perform emotes and wave hello to the camera. And then they nuked him. Phil Spencer has long professed his love of the Fallout series, often talking about playing Fallout 76 occasionally. He's not shy about his gaming profiles and leaves them publicly viewable, so it's not tough to see how much time he sunk into Bethesda Game Studios' post-apocalyptic MMORPG. A few weeks ago, Spencer aired his grievances about a feature that he'd love to come to the game. Even the CEO of Microsoft Gaming has his bugbears about the rags to riches MMO that miserably started life before turning around into something monumental. In a post published on Twitter, it was revealed that not every player was happy to see Phil Spencer parading around Appalachian Fallout 76. One user had gone to the effort of singling out Spencer's in-game camp and launching a nuke at it, enshrouding it in an irradiated no-go zone. And so if you go to the website, you can see there's his camp, and then it's been nuked.
That's great.
Yeah, so players not happy. Now, as it says in Fallout, war never changes. Phil Spencer may be preparing his own nuke.
It's like, guys, listen, he's fighting back.
As spotted by Rebs Gaming over on Twitter, Phil has been spending some time in Fallout 76 recently, earning him the Officer on Deck achievement. As it turns out, this quest must be completed for players to be able to launch nuclear weapons in the Bethesda Online RPG. Now, could he just be playing, the game and he's just naturally doing the side quest or whatever? Could be.
I think he's a little mad.
He's probably. I mean, honestly, and I said this on Twitter, and again, like, a lot of these decisions are they probably do come down above Phil's head.
I do believe it's above him.
But I'm all for bullying Phil Spencer off of Xbox. Look, man, like, at this point, the gloves are off with the brand. Like, again, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be honest and brutally, like, I'm going to be real about how I feel about the health of Xbox and the state of Xbox. And it's not fucking good. Like, I'm not going anywhere, but I'm going to be honest about it. It's just like, at this point, like, I don't need to hear Phil Spencer talk anymore. I don't need to hear Aaron Greenberg talk anymore. I don't need to hear Sarah Bond or Matt Booty. Like, my advice to them would be, like, shut the fuck up. Like, stop talking.
With the June showcase, we're going to hear from them a little bit.
Well, no, so it's actually confirmed that IGN has Phil Spencer in an interview immediately following the Xbox showcase. And it's going to be in front of a live audience.
Yeah.
And I think that Ryan McCaffrey, who's doing the interview, I think he has a lot of responsibility to ask these really hard questions. Because, again, it's just unacceptable. It's just unacceptable, regardless of how high up it comes. It's unacceptable for the brand in general. And then something else about that happened on that day that was just really just baffling to me, and it continues to show, like, and again, I think this really is kind of like an Xbox versus Microsoft thing, but Xbox failed to read the room that day, and about an hour, maybe an hour and a half after announcing that they were closing the studios, Microsoft asked Xbox gamers to, quote, feel the burn today, with a special edition Xbox controller, the Fire Vapor controller. So, feel the burn today on a day where they closed 4 studios, one of them being a critically acclaimed studio, the other one also being pretty well acclaimed.
Yeah.
Now they ended up changing. If you go to the Xbox Wire page, they did change the actual like headline where it doesn't say "Feel the Burn." It's like "Warm Up" or something. But like, it's just unacceptable.
Very tone deaf,
yeah, very tone deaf. Just a lot of lack of understanding there. So let's get into what were these studios working on? So number one, there was a major Redfall update in development. Before being shut down on May 7th, Arcane Austin was working on a major update for Redfall that was planned to come out this month, Devro.
So that's the part that confuses me. Why not just finish the update? You're gonna if you finish the update, add whatever new characters, be done with the game then. That's the part that confuses me.
I don't have an answer for you. According to a new report from IGN, the studio was working on an update for May that would have removed the game's always online requirement in addition to other updates. This feature was promised by Arcane Austin back in March of 2023, but hadn't been delivered yet. Now, with it no longer in the cards, players will seemingly only have access to Redfall until Microsoft and Bethesda decide to shut down the game's servers. In addition to an update for May, Redfall was set to get an update around Halloween that would have seen the 2 new characters come to the game. The update, which was to be part of the game's Hero Pass, is also canceled, along with support for the game moving forward. So we knew that we were going to get a big Halloween update. Arcane Austin was also reportedly pitching an immersive sim before its closure. In a new report from Bloomberg, it's claimed that the team behind Prey and Redfall was looking to get back to its immersive sim genre roots following the disappointing reception to Redfall. Before its closure, Arcane had been looking to return to its roots by pitching a new single-player immersive sim game, such as a new entry in the Dishonored series, according to the people familiar, the report reads. According to Bloomberg, during a town hall, we'll get into the town hall a little bit later, it's been reported that Jill Braff, head of ZeniMax, told those in attendance that she hopes that the closure would allow company to focus on fewer, larger projects. Following the news closure, okay, we already read that as well. So they were basically trying to make possibly another Dishonored game, and they were also trying to update Redfall. It sounds like the studio was about to do some good,
big stuff.
Yeah, big stuff. I think I left it out of the script, but it was also saying that Tango was getting ready to pitch a Hi-Fi Rush 2, a sequel. So we do know, however, or it's pretty much being speculated that Hi-Fi Rush's Switch port, which has not released yet. It's very important to remember that this was something that was probably being saved for the Switch 2 or later this year for the Switch, is most likely not coming out now, due to the studio's closure. Let's see. Yeah. So basically that was pretty much it for that headline, I guess.
That sucks.
Yeah. So they waited and it's not happening, which is interesting. However, Hi-Fi Rush is still getting its limited run physical release. They were tweeted at by Victorious Walls and saying hey, did you forget to delete this tweet since Hi-Fi Rush, since Tango's closed? And they said, did we forget? Unless we say otherwise, Hi-Fi Rush is still a go. We're feeling the beat. Limited run will have more news to share about the physical edition soon. So.
Sounds like
it has nothing to do with Tango. Yeah, the physical release has nothing to do with Tango Game Works, which is why it's still happening. The Switch version, which needs a little bit of probably under the hood work, it's probably not happening. So,
baffling.
Speaking of baffling, again, I'm just tired of these people talking at this point. After all this went down, the studios were closed, people are upset, terrible stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft, Matt Booty, says it needs... You know what? I'm not even going to read the headline. Let's just get into it, and we'll see what you think about it, Dev. One day after Microsoft announced it would shut down the 4 game studios we talked about, Matt Booty, head of Xbox Game Studios, held a town hall to discuss the division's future goals. Quote, "We need smaller games that give us prestige and awards," Matt Booty told employees the day after, closing Tango Gameworks, the studio that made a small game that gave them prestige and awards in Hi-Fi Rush. The day after, it's like, we need more games like this Hi-Fi Rush. Who's gonna make them? I fucking hate Matt Booty. Like, look, I'm not someone that's like calling for like Phil Spencer's job or Sarah Bond's job yet, but like Matt Booty is someone who, in my mind, I can't see why this dude still has a fucking job. Like, I'm just gonna be completely honest. Like, this guy was in charge of like a lot of the first party output over the last decade. Very little to show for it. Like, what has he been like? I mean, under his watch, 343 took a step backwards. I mean, like, Halo under-delivered, like, under his watch. Like, there's just been a lot of not great stuff that's happened with Matt Booty. And if any of the Xbox execs were to get the booty, it would be him. Pun not intended. I realize I made a pun there. I did not mean to.
It's just baffling.
For some listeners on the call, it was a surprising goal. Microsoft had just shut down Tango Gameworks. While Microsoft hadn't shared sales data, it was apparently happy with the game, being Hi-Fi Rush. When rumors swirled, and again, we mentioned this earlier, Aaron Greenberg, on April 21st, 2023, tweeted, Hi-Fi Rush was a breakout hit for us and our players in all key measurements and expectations. We couldn't be happier with what the team at Tango delivered with this surprise release.
Let's kill them.
Like, just fucking make it make sense. Like, make it make sense.
You did such a good job. You're fired. Like,
I don't understand it. But I'm sure the shareholders, they want their growth. So, because that's all that matters at this point, right?
Something that's a little scary is, like, with Call of Duty's coming out, and obviously making a bunch of money, is Xbox just going to become a Call of Duty? Like, you know what I mean? Are they going to put all their resources into the game that just makes them the most money?
I mean, honestly, at this point, I don't think that they're going to be as bad as Activision with Call of Duty. But I think what you'll see is, like, I mean, like, look, I'm not saying this for sure, and I hope I'm wrong. But, like, honestly, man, like, they might just end up being Activision with an Xbox label.
Yeah.
Where it's like, because
and I think it's going to take time to get to that point.
I mean, because here's the thing also. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just yeah, okay, we get it. You want the money, you want the growth. You need to see the dollars coming in. We know how big Xbox or Call of Duty is in the gaming sphere.
Mm-hmm.
If that's all they care about, I don't know. It's a little sad to see some of these. What I'm trying to say is, I don't think this is the first of the studios to close, and I think we're gonna get more bad news probably later on this year.
Yeah, more on that in a little bit. What's up to Ty in the chat?
Hey, Ty.
I mean, yeah, it's just, for me, it's just unacceptable. It's just unfathomable. I mean, again, Aaron Greenberg was either lying back then, or he's lying. Like it was a hit for you. You said by every metric, you know, you were happy with the team, but like, I mean, to get back to your point, you were saying about how, like, you know, Call of Duty will do the numbers that it does, and are they just going to focus on that? I think that Xbox also does have other franchises that they are going to continue to invest in. I mean, you're still going to see Gears, Halo, Fallout, Fable, like the big guns. The big
AAA games. Yeah.
But like, my concern, I do have a serious concern about like that middle to lower tier of Xbox developers, because here's the thing, right? And this is why Ty and I have been going back and forth a little bit on the Discord, where like my stance on Game Pass, I'm still subscribed to Game Pass, and while it's a good deal for me, I'm going to continue to be subscribed to Game Pass. But I mean, like,
I just subscribed for 9 months.
I can't sit here and say that Game Pass is a sustainable business model. I can't do it, because for me, a big appeal of Game Pass, or the big promise of Game Pass, was these Xbox first party games. And like, we're going to talk about like what we've been playing. Like, I just, on Game Pass, right? I played a game last week called Dordona, and it's a beautiful, like, small little narrative game. It is a game that, like, if I was just buying the games that I'm playing on Game Pass, like, it probably might sail over my radar, or maybe I don't have the kind of funds to buy a game like that, because it's not a super long game, but it was such an enjoyable game that I loved. It was on Sunday I was playing, when it was like really rainy last Sunday, and It was just a Sunday, rainy Sunday, and I'm like, I'm just gonna sit down and play this gorgeous art game with this great narrative, and like that's something that I really value out of Game Pass is like, yeah, it's great when like the Halo comes out or the Gears comes out or like the big tentpole title comes out, but like what happens when I'm done with those games and I want to play like something else? Like it's just the variety there was something I really appreciated about Xbox Game Pass. And I'm sorry, but if the game did well by all of your metrics, then that means it's a business problem. If your metrics are saying that this game was successful to you and everything you care about, then something's wrong on the company side. That you're saying that it's justifiable to close the studio. Ty says it's not putting out the numbers. So, Ty, that means Aaron Greenberg was a liar a year ago, right? I actually have the tweet right in front of me. Oh, I did. Hold on. I'm going to go backwards for you, Ty. I'm going to go backwards. Because if you're saying they're not pulling the money, they're not doing the numbers. Oh, boy. Why is it not where it was supposed to? Here it is. So, Ty, Aaron Greenberg last year said, Hi-Fi Rush was a breakout hit for us and our players in all key measurements and expectations. We couldn't be happier with what the team at Tango Gameworks delivered with this surprise release. So I would love to get your thoughts, Ty, on like, and I'm sure you're just gonna bluntly say, yeah, Aaron Greenberg was fucking lying then. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it could have been something like he said that maybe at a release, the release window, maybe the great during release. Either way, we're not going to see. I think we're going to see a death of, like you said, mid and smaller titles in terms of AAA companies. I think we're going to get those a lot more from indie devs and third-party studios. We're not going to get a lot of that mid and small stuff from these big companies anymore. I think they're aiming for bigger numbers. They're spending a lot of money. They need to get their money back, and these mid and smaller games are not giving them their money back. You're not giving them their dollar. So, I
mean, Game Pass is like I don't think we know Game Pass isn't growing by the numbers they want it to. Sounds like a business model problem to me. It's like, hey, this game was great and people loved it, but it's not doing enough for us. It's like sounds like a problem on the business aspect.
It could be.
Which, let me be clear, and I've said this to Ty, I don't give a fuck about Microsoft's growth. Like, we sit here, we analyze it, we talk about it because we love video games, we love the industry. At the end of the day, my concern is making sure that these companies are giving me great video games to play, and Xbox or Microsoft specifically made a decision to worsen that for me. So, I don't give a fuck about their growth if they're going to be closing studios. Ty said, Greenberg, is it possible that a couple of years ago the numbers were seen as good? A couple of years ago, bro, it was 13 months ago. What are we talking about here? A couple of years ago. However, in this climate, things have changed. 20,000 people have lost their jobs. Industry isn't the same as past. It was look, I hear you. It was 13 months ago. Don't say a couple of years like this was like 4 years ago, 3 years ago. Like, no, this was 13 months ago. Under 13 months ago. Based off the date. So, sorry, but that's not for me, that's not an applicable reason. Aaron Greenberg said that a year ago. So, he was either lying or he's not. Like, he was lying then or he's lying now. It doesn't matter. Now, so Game Pass, this, I have to scroll through this because this wasn't like a whole... So, this also came from The Verge. It was kind of a little bit of stuff about Game Pass. Sorry. I had it. Alright. A combination of these events led to 4 previously Xbox exclusive games. No, that's not it. Microsoft has also had internal debates about whether to put new releases of Call of Duty into Game Pass. The Verge understands that this is a debate that has been going on internally for quite some time, with concerns from some that the revenue of Call of Duty typically generates for Activision Blizzard will be undermined by Game Pass. I believe this is Tom Warren. Tom Warren was told that Microsoft also considered increasing the price of Game Pass Ultimate again. These are only considerations, so a final decision could mean we still see Call of Duty release on Game Pass. We'll talk more about that in a little bit, but I felt like it was important to mention that now. Yeah, we're seeing thousands lose jobs every year. Yeah, they lost those jobs last year too. Like, I understand what you're saying, but that doesn't mean the metric didn't change. The loss of jobs does not dictate a metric. Like, I'm sorry, that's not how video games work. I hate to break it to them, but yeah, single player games go down in sales as time goes on. They're single player games. Like, that's how it works. Starfield doesn't sell the copies it did, when it came last year. God of War Ragnarok doesn't sell the copies it did last year. Or I'm sorry, Spider-Man 2 came out last year. Spider-Man 2 isn't doing the numbers now it was doing last year when it came out. Like, that's how it works. So I'm sorry, but that's how the industry has always been. I'm not saying it's exactly the same across the industry as it was like years ago, but that doesn't automatically mean that Aaron Greenberg wasn't lying then, or it wasn't like that doesn't check out for me. Sorry. It's kind of what you said. According to Brad Sams, Microsoft fiscal year ends in June. We should expect another wave of layoffs in July. Bloomberg reported earlier this week that there were whispers among Microsoft employees that the Xbox core studios are next. Double Fine's going to be gone. I'm sorry, but there's no shot that if they're going to close Tango Gameworks, Double Fine Studios, Tim Schafer's studio, which has been a bastion of creativity in the games industry, putting out Psychonauts and all these other little quirky projects, like there's no shot that Double Fine makes it past these cuts. And there's other studios, I'm sure, too. And it's disgusting. It's unacceptable. Look, man, like I said, I really fucking, at the end of the day, bottom line is, I don't give a fuck about a company's growth year over year if it means that I'm getting less good video games. That's their problem to figure that out. That's their job. And my job is to spend my money accordingly. So.
I mean, they are figuring it out. Just not the way we want them to.
No.
Do you think Toys for Bob recently, they went independent, right?
Yeah, and
they're paying funding for that? Like,
I don't know. I really don't know. And it's also kind of interesting that, and we read it earlier, it is interesting that there wasn't an opportunity given to, like, say, Tango to divest.
Yeah.
They're just like, nah. Maybe the company didn't want to divest, I guess, or something. I don't know. So that, and then lastly, Sarah Bond, which Greenberg wasn't lying, but he was likely stretching the truth. Oh, well, if he wasn't lying, then if it met all their metrics, then why did they close the studio? It sounds like they probably have a business problem on their hands, which is what leads me to the thought process that maybe Game Pass isn't as sustainable as we thought it was.
It probably meant their metrics and not Microsoft's.
Probably.
It met Xbox's record expectations, but Microsoft was expecting more money to come out of it.
And look, like I said, we said it earlier. I totally understand, and I'll be willing to sit here and I don't think it's Phil Spencer making these decisions specifically. I don't think it is Sarah Bond or Aaron Greenberg or whatever. Like, it is Amy Hood and Satya Nadella. Like, it is the higher ups of Microsoft. But at the end of the day, like, this is how the world works, and Xbox is part of Microsoft. So if the Xbox brand is tanking, like, everyone at Xbox is gonna have, like, in the executive level is going to have to. I'm going to blame them. I'm going to hold them responsible. And then so Sarah Bond was actually asked about it. She was the first to be publicly interviewed, because for some reason these people just love putting themselves out there and talking.
Yeah.
And it really does not work like it used to. But so Sarah Bond was being interviewed by Bloomberg. It's been a turbulent week for Xbox. Sarah Bond, president of Xbox, appeared in a Bloomberg interview where she spoke about the launch of the Xbox mobile store, which we'll talk about later, but was also asked a couple of tough questions by the interviewer, who said, quote, "I know you're not the studio's chief, but how should gamers understand that move in terms of Microsoft's commitment to developing innovative exclusive games?" Great question. Bond responds, "It's always extraordinarily hard when you have to make decisions like that. I'll go back to what I was saying about the industry, and when we looked at those fundamental trends, we feel a deep responsibility to ensure that the games we make, the devices we build, the services that we offer are there through moments, even when the industry isn't growing, and when you're through a time of transition. And the news we announced earlier this week is an outcome of that, and our commitment to make sure that the business is healthy for the long term. But that said, our commitment to having our own studios and working with partners to have games large and small. You know, we're a platform where you can play GTA, but you can also play Pal World, where you can play Call of Duty, and you can also play Pentiment. That doesn't change, and frankly, our commitment to Bethesda and the role that it plays as part of Xbox and everything we do. This just really kind of came across as like word salad to me. It's like a non-answer. It's also a contradictory answer because I still can't. I don't know how Matt Booty and Sarah Bond can say we still want these small titles on Xbox first party. Like we still want these small games
while they're also killing them.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's the thing. Like okay, so if Microsoft is saying this, you know, like hey, you got to close these studios because we don't care about the smaller games, then you can't continue to say we want smaller games. Like like you got to just be frontal about it and like. Whatever happens. Like if you lose brand share, if you lose brand trust, like if people who like those smaller games, who game on Xbox for those first party smaller games that maybe don't care about Call of Duty, and maybe if they don't want to do, if they don't want to spend your money with Xbox anymore, like well that's the direction your company's going in. I don't think it's right to sit here and be like we care about small games. Like you clearly don't. That's not your business model at this point. We're beyond a point of talking. It's a point of show me then. Okay, so you say you care about small games. What are you doing to show me that you care about small games? Because what you did last week didn't show me that you cared about small games. It told me the opposite. It told me that, hey, we have Call of Duty now, so we have fuck you money. So now we're just going to put out Call of Duty and big titles.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot less AA and single A games coming from those bigger companies.
I mean, yeah. I don't know how you can take anything else out of that, like out of the move. Following some more chat about Indiana Jones: The Fallout Show, the interview pressed Bond more specifically on the shuttering of Tango Gameworks. The question was, I think one of the things that was most upsetting both to Xbox gamers and to employees is that, one of the shuttered studios in particular just created a hit game. It did really well on Game Pass in terms of engagement, and it won a ton of awards. Shouldn't exceeding in that ensure the future of the studio? Sarah, who admittedly was tasked with being the first executive to have to answer these questions, says, one of the things I really love about the gaming industry is it's a creative art form, and that means that the situation and what success for each game in the studio is also really unique. There's no one-size-fits-all for us, and so we look at each studio and each game team, and we look at a whole variety of factors when we're faced with making decisions and trade-offs like that. But it all comes back to our long-term commitment to the games we create, the devices we build, the services, and ensuring that we are setting ourselves up to deliver on those promises. Again, word salad, complete nonsense, a non-answer. When they're saying, like, the video games, man, it's like, yeah, I know video games. I think that Xbox PR really did Sarah Bond dirty here. They really sent her out there knowing that like these questions were going to be asked, and they did not prepare her at all for this. And I mean, like, I don't feel bad, but like Sarah's not the one making these calls. I really don't think that. So I don't know. I do not know. Yeah. Let's move on though, because that took up a large chunk of time. Thank you to everyone hanging out with us. I know Jeff was here earlier. Thanks to Ty. Let's move on to number 2 in the headlines. Square Enix this morning came out and said that they are changing their business model and that they are going to be aggressively pursuing multi-platform game releases. Everybody's getting bitten by the multi-platform bug now, says The Verge, and now it's Square Enix. In its earnings report released earlier today, the publisher shared plans to increase profits, stating that it will aggressively pursue a multi-platform strategy that includes Nintendo platforms, PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. Right now, Square Enix's biggest games like Final Fantasy XVI and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth have been restricted to the PlayStation, with PC releases for select titles including 7 Remake Intergrade following sometime after console launch. However, smaller new releases like the forthcoming Visions of Mana are seeing a release on Xbox. The company wrote that it hopes bringing its major franchises, including its back catalog, to more platforms will build an environment where more customers can enjoy our titles. It's a policy Xbox has started to pursue, releasing its exclusives on other platforms that we've been talking about. The news that fans can expect more Square Enix titles on more platforms was coupled with additional reports that the company is undergoing a round of layoffs, which we'll talk more about in a little bit. So, Dev, I'm going to let you either, admit that you were wrong, or you could say...
Wrong about what?
Or you can kind of, revisionist history where, I didn't say that. In terms of, these Japanese games, clearly, Square Enix wants to put their Japanese games in more places. This includes Western audiences for both, Xbox and PC, and I would like to get your thoughts on you made some contradictory statements in the past.
I haven't.
Hey, look, they're out there. You can go back on past episodes of the podcast.
They're not.
And you can check it out. They're there.
They're not there.
They are there.
Don't send people to find things that aren't real.
They are there.
There.
They are there. Where you said.
What did I say?
So I'm paraphrasing, obviously.
Yeah. No, it's this.
I can't sit down I don't have the clip ready, and I'm sorry. I don't have time for that.
I didn't say that much. I said something simple.
You said. Mm-hmm. You said that Japanese games, or I'm sorry, let me phrase this. You said that Western audiences, specifically Xbox and PC gamers, don't care about Japanese-made games, don't care about JRPGs, and they shouldn't come to them. You've also supported PlayStation paying for these exclusive games on Square Enix. It's very selective of you.
What I said, and I'll repeat it.
Go ahead.
I don't even know how many times, but you don't really listen, so it doesn't matter anyway. If you grew up liking Japanese games, Japanese RPGs, Final Fantasy,
like me,
you most likely own a PS5, like you do.
Sure.
That's it.
But
that's what I said.
Not everyone like me can afford a PS5. Maybe they have an Xbox and they want to play Final Fantasy.
That's fine. If you grew up liking JRPGs, you most likely were in the PlayStation ecosystem. It just makes sense. That's where the games were. That's what you got. Just the same way where.
But you don't think that people in the Xbox ecosystem might only be able to afford an Xbox? Because I'm blessed, I can afford all of them. But you don't think there were people in the Xbox ecosystem that would love to play these games and want these games? Oh, now it's absolutely. It wasn't that before.
I never said they didn't. My God. What I said was, if you were into JRPGs, you most likely have a PS5. That's what I said. I don't even.
You hate to see it.
This whole Japanese hate thing.
I don't know where you got it from either.
I don't know where you got it from.
I don't hate it.
You're just making stuff up.
I don't hate Japanese developers.
I never said you did.
I'm not like you. I don't know. Look, I'm just saying.
Yeah, you say a lot.
I do. You have Gengar cut in half because you don't like Japanese games. What's going on back there? Why use a shadow? I want to talk about Nintendo's new console next, Devro. I don't know if you want me to though, because you don't like Japanese games. I don't. Can I continue?
When did I ever say
Can I talk about the Nintendo news?
Do what you're gonna do what you want anyway. You say whatever you want.
That's very true.
Yeah. So, go ahead.
I just speak the truth.
I mean, you Xbox guys love to lie. It's crazy.
First of all, we could turn the camera around. You could see predominantly a Nintendo guy. Very clearly, if you look everywhere around you, there's the Smash wall, there's the Pokemon statues, there's the Zelda statues. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a Master Chief right there, there's some Gear stuff over there, but I love video games, Devro. I don't hold myself to any one platform, unlike some people. It's ooh, Western fans don't like JRPGs. That's a lie, Devro. You were wrong. So
why would you say that?
You said that.
Those words never came out of my mouth.
I've never felt that once at all. One of my favorite games the last decade was Octopath Traveler. I fucking love Octopath Traveler. And you just insult it. Crazy.
It's insane.
You're right, it is insane. Anyways, let's talk about Nintendo's new console. Nintendo has confirmed this past week that it will announce its next console this fiscal year. Which does kind of coincide with what we've been talking about the Super Switch possibly being delayed. Because this fiscal year ends next March. So, in a statement published alongside its financial results, President Shuntaro Furukawa said the company would also hold a Nintendo Direct this June. More on that later. This is Furukawa, president of Nintendo. We will make an announcement about the successor to the Nintendo Switch this fiscal year, he said. Which I also love Nintendo's corporate people and the people from Nintendo, how they tweet. It's this is Furukawa. Or like when Shigeru Miyamoto tweets, it's like, this is Miyamoto. Oh, man. Anyways, quote, it has been over 9 years since we announced the existence of the Nintendo Switch back in March 2015. We will be holding a Nintendo Direct this June regarding the Nintendo Switch software lineup for the latter half of 2024. But please be aware there will be no mention of the Nintendo Switch successor during that presentation. In its financial results for the year ended March 2024, published Tuesday, Nintendo confirmed it had sold 15.7 million Switch consoles, just beating its forecast of 15.5 million, for a total of 141.32 million units to date. The company projected console sales would fall 14% to 13.5 million for the current fiscal year ending in March. It expects net profit to fall by about 38.9%. If Switch hits those sales targets, it will be close to beating the Nintendo DS and PS2 as the best-selling console in history. Dr. Serkan Toto, CEO of Tokyo-based games industry consultancy Kantan Games, told VGC that the Switch could have some strong software planned for later this year, based on its hardware sales forecast. You never know with Nintendo, but it looks like they're treating 2024 as a bridge year before the new console comes out, he said. 13.5 million units is a very aggressive target for hardware sales that late in life cycle. So it either has some bangers to be released this fiscal year, or it's going to slash prices on the Switch.
I think both.
So yeah, we're going to talk about it, I believe, in a little bit, about the Nintendo Direct. So yeah.
What do you think? Okay. I'll wait till we get to the.
Yeah, wait till we get there. You already know what I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
You know what I'm gonna say.
I know what you're gonna say.
You know.
For the 4th year in a row.
We're gonna get there.
4 years.
We'll get there.
All right.
We'll get there.
Before I'm so angry.
Before we get there, Nintendo says that the new Switch console isn't a brand new platform. When Nintendo officially reveals the Switch 2, or as we like to call it here, the Super Switch, that's a slam dunk. They gotta name it the Super Switch.
Yeah.
There's no reason not to. I'm sorry, there's no reason not to. Or whatever it's called, later this fiscal year, it's not going to be an entirely new type of system. In fact, it's going to be pretty similar, in some ways at least, to the current Switch. During Nintendo's annual investors meeting on Tuesday, President Furukawa was asked about the new console. Specifically, he was asked if it was a brand new system or something akin to the original Switch. He says, Switch Next model is the appropriate way to describe it. As far as the next Switch model, and more details have continued to come out about the system, it's been reported it's going to be built primarily with Samsung components. The Joy-Con controllers will connect differently, and it will be backwards compatible with current Switch games. It's also expected to be another hybrid console to support up to 4K resolution when docked. As always, none of the reports won the console. This is really weirdly worded. As always, none of the reports once the console has been announced by Nintendo. Okay, that's a really bad sentence. Okay. We don't know if these are real. We don't know if these reports. These are all reports and rumors. Yeah. So take them with a grain of salt. That was a really bad sentence.
All of those things sound true. I believe a lot of that stuff. Nothing really there. A lot of the things that people have been saying is more of an iteration, and I think that's okay. I think that's fine.
Yeah.
A bigger screen, a better battery life.
Look, I mean, in my opinion, and we've talked about it in the past, I don't think that they need to come out. Like, I know we talk about Nintendo, and it's Nintendo, and they feel like they have to innovate for the sake of innovation. Listen, man, the Switch.
Where do you go from there?
You keep, exactly. Thank you. Like, what do you do next?
Yeah.
Like here's the thing: the Switch, you've captured lightning in the bottle. This is the perfect video game console because it literally can please. Like, it's a very rare situation. Like, we talk about a lot where it's like if you try to please everybody, you'll please nobody. And the Switch is like the exception to the rule in the craziest way because it has the Joy-Cons, which can give you a more casual experience if you're talking about motion control. It's got, like, the portability. It's got the home console aspect to it. Mm-hmm. Like, we both have Nintendo Switches, and we both have played our Switches drastically differently in its lifetime.
Yeah, which is insane.
Isn't it?
I
Look, that's mine over there. that's where it's
yours is almost entirely docked.
95% of its life cycle has been spent on the dock.
Yeah,
like I might take it like if we go down the shore for a weekend, or like if we go like out of town for a weekend, like I might take it and play like a couple hours on the drive, but like that's it.
Mine is almost never docked. I'm playing it in my bed. I'm playing it on the couch. I'm playing it on the toilet. I'm just taking my.
I hope you're sanitizing it
everywhere.
You better be sanitizing that.
Yeah.
How long are you spending on the toilet?
I don't know.
I mean, I might spend. To be fair, I spent like 40 minutes on TikTok. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So. Have to be there
and Twitter. I spent a lot of time on Twitter when I poop. Anyways. Yeah. Like again, like I don't know how you change it. Like if you're Nintendo, also, just make it better.
I also like. Hearing this, I don't have to worry about backwards compatibility, which is
love that.
Huge
thing, my god!
Especially for the Switch. Like, I hope that the cartridges still fit. I hope everything still works.
Wait, what did you say? What did you say? Repeat yourself.
Especially for Switch.
No, after that.
I hope the cartridges.
Cartridges.
Yeah.
There's gonna be cartridges. So you're saying, Devro, are you going on record and saying that physical media will still be around for the next like 10 years?
I mean. At least with Nintendo, yeah.
Okay, good.
Actually, with all the consoles.
So, are you willing to apologize for your past statements saying that you didn't support physical media and you hoped physical media died a miserable, horrible death in flames?
I never said that. I said that physical media is dying. It is. It just is.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go with that again. All right.
I don't put my personal opinions in facts.
I just analyze facts and give my thoughts surrounding them.
No, you don't.
How so?
You cry about it.
I don't cry. It's called being passionate.
Yeah, I leave my emotions out of it. Physical media is
dying. Part of living is to be passionate about things. I'm sorry that you don't feel the same way.
Physical media is dying, whether you like it or not.
I never said it. I never said it wasn't. Just saying, it's still around.
Yeah.
You're changing the subject. I don't know why you're changing the subject.
You made me repeat myself? Anyway, I'm glad that it's an iteration. I'm a little upset that it's not an OLED model coming out at launch, but...
Yeah. Well, let's get into some specs. Apparently. Switch 2 specs may have been found in customs and shipping data. If true, the RAM and memory are significantly higher than those of the original Switch. Members of the Fami Boards forum have been tracking customs and shipping data for some time now. These people are the people that do the real work, right? They're the people that are looking at these shipping statements and they're just like, Nintendo.
Yeah.
Every day they wake up and they're like, oh wait, hold on. Is this it? We got it. They do the real work. These are the sickos, and I love them for it. Absolutely.
Any crumb they can get.
Anyways, they've been tracking customs and shipping data for some time now in an attempt to find information on shipments being sent between Nintendo, Nvidia, and other parts manufacturers. According to some members, shipping information from March, which has only recently been made publicly available, has now turned up references to a number of new shipments with new code names, which they believe refer to components for the next Nintendo console. One listing is for a 6GB RAM chip, of which 2 will reportedly be used for a total of 12 gigabytes of RAM. It's currently unclear whether it will be LPDDR5 or LPDDR5X RAM, but it will reportedly run at speeds of 7,500 million transfers per second. By comparison, the original Switch had 4 gigabytes of LPDDR4 RAM, which ran speeds of up to 3,200 million transfers per second. Another listing suggests the Switch's built-in storage will be 256 gigabytes and will be UFS 3.1, which means potential read speeds of up to 2,100 MBs per second, millibytes per second, compared to the original Switch's 32 gigabyte storage, which peaks at around 300 millibytes per second. While at this stage it's impossible to tell exactly how this will all play out in terms of actual performance, the data suggests it will be significantly more powerful than that of its predecessor. Comparisons with other consoles are far less straightforward, particularly because Nintendo's next console will use NVIDIA tech and ARM architecture versus the AMD tech and x86 architecture in Xbox and PlayStation consoles. Yeah. So, just make a Switch and make it more powerful. 4K? Sounds great.
You think it leaks before they get a chance to announce it?
All I can say is when the bird speaks, the bird usually doesn't miss, as we'll talk about later. Okay. So, we'll see. Anyways, a June Nintendo Direct is confirmed, as we were talking about. So now's the time, Dev. Like, let's talk about it. So obviously, Nintendo is still predicting some big numbers for the Switch. They think they're gonna do well this year, and again, it's either gonna be because of a price cut or because of some banger games. So I want to ask you, like, what do you think Nintendo has? Again, we're just speculating here. Yeah. What do you think Nintendo has lined up this holiday season? Well, because number one, all right, so let's actually back up a second. So we know that they're going to announce the new console this fiscal year. Mm-hmm. When do you think that's going to be? Because I think I know when that's going to. I have my prediction already. So I anywhere between now and March 31st, 2025 is when we could get an announcement.
I think the console comes out in March. February, March, spring.
Okay. Yeah.
I think they announce it around Christmas time.
So I almost agree with you. They're going to announce this console in January, after the holiday sales.
That actually makes more sense. It makes more sense to announce it in January and have it come out in March.
However, this is kind of looking at it from a corporate perspective. They might want to have it in the following fiscal year. I mean, now usually they do put them out in March, but if they're expecting the Switch to do as well as they're expecting it to do, that would tell you that when they save the successor, the boom in the successor sales for the next fiscal year. So my thought process is that they show it off in January and put it out in like April.
Yeah.
That's my thought process.
That makes more sense.
Because you don't want to put it out, and you don't want to announce it in December because you have people still buying Switches and buying games for the Switch. And even though it's going to be backwards compatible, like I'm sure they want to let those titles speak for themselves in the sales.
You want to start the new fiscal year with a banger.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying I think you put.
We hear it in January, we see it, we get it
in April. Yeah,
I agree with that.
Yeah, that's my thought process. So okay, now we can fast forward a little bit more.
Well, actually, I want to go back just a tiny bit.
Okay.
Do you think that the games? Do you think they're going to release a game on both the Super Switch and?
I'm sure the launch title will be, yes.
Do you think the launch titles will be able to do both?
Maybe not all of them, but it maybe. I can't. So here's the thing, right? This kind of
that is. I'm personally not going to buy it. If it comes out on both consoles, I'm just going to wait until the Super Switch.
Oh well, I think it would be day and date. I think it would be day and date, like with the Zelda game, with Breath of the Wild, and I think it would be a day and date title.
So then what do they have left for the Switch then?
Well, let's move on to talk about this June Direct that we know is definitely happening. What are your thoughts? What do you think we see it, like, speculate?
A 3D Mario? I think we're due for
a 3D Mario. No way. They're saving that for the next console.
They're
saving that. There's no way that they're putting a 3D Mario out on the Switch. Like another one. There's no way.
I think of Breath of the Wild where it did come out on the Wii U.
Yeah, but it did. But it came out on the Switch the same day.
Yeah. So I can see them doing that.
Oh well, maybe they do that. If you talk about the day, that be the day and date title. Maybe.
What else? I think we're due for a Mario Kart. But they just finished with Mario Kart, so I don't think we see another Mario Kart for a while.
Forrest says fish game for Super Switch.
I don't know. What tying Forrest, what games do you think we would see coming out this year on the current Switch that they're expecting to be big? Like I just don't. I know what we're not gonna see.
Let me tell you what we're gonna get.
Yeah, here we go,
folks. We've known of this existence for a long time.
Here we go.
And yes, I have talked about it for the last 4 years. But we know it exists.
Do we?
We do. We know that it is a real thing. Nintendo sits on these things. They have things done and ready to go, folks. And what we're going to see on the Switch, 4 things come to mind. 4.
Yeah.
Number 1, the Zelda ports. I don't know. So I will ring it in a little bit. I think it's just going to be Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. I don't know if they're going to release them separately. They could, and they could get away with it if they wanted
to. They should.
I would prefer.
I know we prefer it bundled, but
no, I know, but I wouldn't be they're 2 of my favorite games of all time. I'll buy them. But so Wind Waker, Twilight Princess for the Switch. I think that those are a lock for this year. This year, what has this year been so far? Remakes and ports. We got Paper Mario coming out next week, which let's fucking go. We have Luigi's Mansion coming out in June. You know what I mean? Like that's what this year is. We had Peach Showtime, which was it's an OG title, but look, this is the winding down year for the Switch. Thank you. They had Tears of the Kingdom out last year, and they didn't want to put a Zelda game out to break that hype cycle. But now Tears is out. They said they're not doing DLC for Tears. Other than the year before Tears of the Kingdom came out, Nintendo has put out a Zelda release every single year for like the last 7 or 8 years. So I can understand in 2022 they were like, hey, we were expecting Tears in 2022, and then it got pushed. So then that messed up that Zelda streak that they had going. I don't see why they don't put Wind Waker Twilight Princess on the Switch, first of all. Number 2, there are rumblings of a remake of one of the older Fire Emblem games.
Okay.
I think Jeff Grubb said last week that, according to him, from what he's heard, that's a game that they have finished, completely done, and they're just sitting on.
That makes sense.
So I would expect a Fire Emblem remake, a remake of one of the older games, which is something they did towards the end of the 3DS's life cycle, was they remade one of the older Fire Emblem games, which would make a lot of sense. Forrest says Super Mario Sunshine 2, Pokemon Z to A, Half-Life 3, Portal 3, tiring, Splatoon 4. So I think the Zelda ports, Fire Emblem. I think Metroid Prime 4 comes out this year.
You think so?
Well,
Metroid Prime 4 feels like a Super Switch game, a Super Switch title.
See, I go back and forth on it, and for me, in my head, I think that it's been in development for so long. I think that they almost, not that they're gonna feel like they have to, but like I feel like they're gonna look at it and be like, "Hey, this is a game that we announced it when the Switch came out 9 years ago, and then we restarted development 3 years in, and now it's been 6 years." I think we get it this year.
Okay.
And now, like, I could be wrong.
That's more plausible than a 3D Mario.
Now, here's what I'll say. If we don't get it this year, I think that is the game that is the day and date with both consoles. Yeah. So it's either that or it's coming out this holiday season on its own 2 legs.
Or both. I could see that coming out on both.
Yeah, or both. And then some sort of Pokemon. I mean, I think ZA was announced for next year, if I'm not mistaken, for 2025. I could be wrong on that. I don't remember exactly. Okay. So I don't think that that's going to come out this year. And then, I mean, those are really, for me, those are the things that come to mind. I don't think they can get much bigger at this point. I don't think you're going to see a Mario game. I don't think you're going to see... or a 3D Mario game, let me rephrase that. I don't think you're going to see a 3D Mario game. You're not going to see Mario Kart. There is some rumors about a Mario Party, maybe, because Nintendo has a game codenamed like Banquet or something that might be a Mario Party. Maybe it's something like that. I don't know.
I think for the end life of the Switch, though, I think remakes is the way to go.
I agree completely.
Yeah.
Give me these games. Like, hey, look, for the last 9 years, you give me a lot of games that I loved. Now bring back some of the other games that I love. Like Paper Mario next week. Let's fucking go.
Yeah.
Can't wait. So yeah.
Every year you bring up the Zelda ports and it sounds less crazy every time you do it.
That's because it makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense every year. The problem was, here's the thing. Tears of the Kingdom messed everything up. And COVID messed everything up. Because the year that I predicted it the first time, and like Jeff Grubb was like, yeah, this is a real thing and it exists and they have it done. Like, Tears of the Kingdom getting pushed back messed everything up, and Nintendo's Nintendo. They're not going to just do it because it would make people happy. They're just like, we're going to sit on this. We have it. It's done. We took it out of the oven. It's cooling on the porch right now. On the, you know what I mean? The pie's cooling on the shelf, on the windowsill. There you go. You know, it's just the pie's cold now. It's just ice cold. Yeah. So let's move on. Let's talk about Assassin's Creed Shadows, which the name was officially unveiled today. And not only that, but we are getting our first trailer on Wednesday.
That's exciting.
Ubisoft has announced that Assassin's Creed Red has officially become Assassin's Creed Shadows, with the trailer dropping, as I said, Wednesday, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. They did this really cool, like, kudos to their marketing team They did this, I don't know if you want to go to the actual link or whatever, but they have this like stand in Japan.
It's a giant
Yeah, it's a sand dial, giant sand dial with red sand in it, and it's just in the middle of somewhere in Japan.
I want that.
This tower isn't that Kyoto?
I have
or
no idea.
Forest, go, like look at what I sent you earlier. Where isn't that tower significant in Japan? I feel like it definitely is. Isn't it like Shinjuku? I could be 100% wrong on that.
I have no idea.
Anyways, it's in Japan, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
Home run by their marketing team, because I was like, that's really dope.
And I assume it's like 3 days worth of sand, 2 days worth of sand.
I would assume so. Yeah, probably. So we're gonna get that trailer. Here's some other details about Assassin's Creed Shadows that we know now. Season Pass and DLC prices have leaked. It's Johto. Okay, thank you. See? Yeah. You can catch a Cyndaquil there. A data miner has revealed that several details on the upcoming Assassin's Creed Shadows, formerly known as Assassin's Creed Red, has post-launch content. The data miner named Ubisoft Frax has outlined several new details and prices on Assassin's Creed Shadows post-launch content. According to the data miner, Shadows will launch with at least 2 post-launch new expansions at $25 each, or you can buy the season pass for $40. Definitely not loving to hear about a $40 season pass, but in addition to the post-launch content, the data miner has also revealed the prices for the upcoming Helix currency, which is like 500 is $5. Basically every 500 is $5. But as you get a little bit higher, there is a little bit of a discount. You know how that type of thing works.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, microtransactions are back, which is not great, but I'm gonna reserve judgment until the game comes out because these games have had it for a long time. So, and then other news, which some will take as bad news, but I take as phenomenal, good, great news, is that Assassin's Creed Shadows will not be on last-gen hardware. When Shadows launches later this year, it'll mark a new era for the franchise because it won't be on last-gen. According to multiple reports, including from notable insider Shinobi602, Assassin's Creed Shadows won't release on PS4 or Xbox One. That means that it will only be available on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series.
That's big.
It is big. It marks the first time those consoles launched in 2013, and the latest Assassin's Creed games won't be available on the platform. Last year's Mirage released on all platforms aside from the Switch. So I think that one of the biggest problems that the current generation of consoles is that, and this is for both of them, not just Xbox, because I think PlayStation, even though they're doing very well, I think they could have done better.
Yeah.
But I feel like this was a generation where they were afraid to leave people behind. So they, especially Xbox, but they've continued to support these last generation consoles to the point where it's like, it's no surprise that people aren't buying hardware. Why would you? Especially if you're on the Xbox side, because all of these games are coming to the Xbox One still. Yeah. They may not be as good, but they're still there. And that's why I'm really interested to see games like Assassin's Creed Shadows, like GTA 6 come out and be like, you're going to buy the new hardware or you're going to be left behind. I think that these games are going to sell units. I don't know how many. I think GTA 6 is going to move a lot of numbers for both console makers. But we need more games like Shadows to break this, and I'm very excited for it. I have a Series X. I want true next gen. And it's something that I don't think either really Xbox or PlayStation has truly really captured yet. Now, to be fair, I haven't played God of War Ragnarok yet, but like from what I've played from their other games, like I mean, again, not bad games, but like, I don't think
We're
the
also getting to the point where the jump between consoles isn't like that significant.
Well, Sarah Bond says the next Xbox leap is going to be the biggest leap. I don't know. Again, shut up and stop talking. Show me. Again, with Xbox, last thing I'll say about this Xbox stuff. Show me. I don't want to hear any more talk. No more talk. Time for talk's done.
Right.
Show me the games. Show me. I'm done. I'm done with that. We're not doing that anymore. All right. And then lastly, now this was funny because this news came out before Shadows got its name. But we will get gameplay for Assassin's Creed Shadows at this year's Ubisoft Forward. To no surprise.
Okay.
So June 12th, we'll see the gameplay. Oh, I'm sorry, June 10th. Big day for us here. We're going to be live streaming all day, Dev. We got the Xbox showcase
What day of the week is
Sunday.
it? Okay.
You're going to be coming over. We're going to live stream. It's going to be a lot of fun. But so yeah, that's something to look forward to. I'm excited. It's E3 time. Even though it's not E3.
It's always going to be E3.
Exactly. It's just like Franklin Mills. It's like, I will never call it Philadelphia Mills. Never. I'll never fucking do it. Yeah. You can't make me. You can't make me. You can't. Don't try. It's Franklin Mills.
All this Assassin's Creed. So, with the death of Watch Dogs, a lot of people have been putting out video essays, and I've been watching a few of them. Mm-hmm. And they mix in there, they have some Assassin's Creed stuff. And I think I'm going to play Odyssey. A lot of people are talking good stuff about Odyssey.
Yeah, you know.
That's the one you haven't played.
Yeah, it is.
What I've seen from it, like, it looks good. It looks, I don't know. I might play that one.
Right.
It's on Game Pass. That's why I might play it.
I have the physical disc. I just haven't played it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's move on because those first few topics very heavy. Number 5, Xbox is launching a new mobile gaming store in July, which we've talked about. Microsoft has been talking about their plans for the mobile gaming Xbox store for a couple years now. The company now plans to launch it in July. Speaking at the Bloomberg Technology Summit, Xbox President Sarah Bond revealed the launch date and how the Microsoft is going to avoid Apple's strict App Store rules. We're going to start by bringing our own first-party portfolio to the Xbox mobile store. So you're going to see games like Candy Crush show up in that experience, games like Minecraft. We're going to start on the web, and we're doing that because that really allows us to have it be an experience that's accessible across all devices, all countries, no matter what, and independent of the politics of closed ecosystem stores. Although Bond alluded to games and an actual store in her statement, during her interview with Bloomberg Tech Summit, a statement provided to The Verge paints a slightly different picture. This year, we will debut our first mobile offering where mobile players can find deals on their favorite in-game items and discover new games, starting on the web so players can access it anywhere, Bond says. This web-based store is the first step in our journey to building a trusted app store with its roots in gaming. The store will be focused on first-party mobile games from Microsoft's various studios, which include huge hits like Call of Duty and Candy Crush. Bond says the company will extend this to partners at some point in the future too. While games will naturally be part of the store, it sounds like the key parts of the Xbox experience will also be available. Bond argues that isn't a gaming platform, and the store experience that goes truly across devices, where who you are, your library, and your identity, your rewards travel with you versus being locked into a single ecosystem. So Microsoft is trying to build that with its Xbox mobile store. Microsoft had also been building this store in anticipation of companies like Apple and Google being forced to open up their mobile app stores, but it's clear the software giant isn't willing to wait till the Digital Markets Act to shake out in Europe or any potential action in the US. A web-only mobile store will be challenging to pull off, and it's not immediately clear how Microsoft will position this as an alternative to these mobile games already existing on rival app stores. Bond said Microsoft will extend beyond the web, hinting that it could eventually launch a true rival to Google and Apple's mobile app stores at some point soon. So, yeah, the Xbox mobile store is coming. We'll see how it goes. I mean, I don't really have any interest in an on the web app store. So, like, I would wait until like there was an actual built-in like app on the app store before I dived in.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes for them.
I wonder if they have any games like Hi-Fi Rush on there. You know they need that.
They do need smaller games that give them prestige and awards. Yeah. Now, Dev, so we didn't do a show last week. There was a lot of drama with Helldivers 2, which has like half rectified itself. So 1 week ago, popular PC and PS5 co-op shooter Helldivers 2 went into a review bombing uproar when PlayStation publisher Sony announced plans to reintroduce a PlayStation Network account linking requirement, despite the fact the game was sold in over 170 countries where PSN isn't available. Mm-hmm. Sony reversed that decision for Helldivers. So the game was getting review bombed because people on PC were going to be required to sign up for PSN, even a free PSN account.
And it was for Helldivers and for Ghost of Tsushima, right?
So PlayStation wants it to be for all of their PC offerings, and so it was last week it came out that it was going to be for Helldivers, was going to be the first one. And so there were some issues there because PSN isn't available in every country in the world, but Steam is widely available.
Yeah.
So basically, if you bought it in one of these countries, your game you couldn't play it once it went into effect.
Insane.
So they delisted. So PlayStation, in response, did the rational thing, right? And they delisted the game in 170 countries.
I think they also offered up refunds.
And yes, Steam was giving full refunds for people who played hundreds of hours.
Yeah.
Insane stuff. But basically, PlayStation did end up kind of backpedaling on that. But Helldivers 2 is still delisted in the 170 countries. And now, here we are with the PC release of Ghost of Tsushima. It seems to be happening as well. SteamDB data shows that early on Friday, sales of the port of developer Sucker Punch's award-winning action title were halted in non-PSN countries in an update to its backend. Notably, this news comes after Sucker Punch publicly announced players would only need to link their Steam account to a PSN one for Ghost of Tsushima's co-op multiplayer mode Legends, and also less than a week before the PC release's scheduled May 16th launch. So they basically said, "Hey, you're only going to need to do this if you're playing multiplayer." And then then PlayStation was like, "Actually, it's like, actually, that's not true." Yeah. It's additionally, Valve's Steam creator, developer, and overseer now appears to be auto-refunding pre-orders of Ghost of Tsushima made in these regions.
Auto-refunding. You don't even have a choice.
As is Steam key seller Greenman Gaming. You are receiving a refund for a game you pre-purchased. Ghost of Tsushima, reads the notice sent to players. The publisher is now requiring a secondary account to play portions of this game, and this account cannot be created from your country.
That sucks.
Yep. I think that PlayStation should do everything in their power to
either get PSN in those countries.
So we talk about the future of gaming, right? And like how it is a multi-platform. Like that's the future, is multi-platform.
Yeah.
And you see Xbox really kind of doubling down on that, not just with Xbox and PlayStation, but with PC, right? And so I think PlayStation, if what they really need to do is they need to do whatever it takes for them to successfully integrate into the PC markets. And I think the reason that they don't have PSN available is like a tax issue or something. Like I think that's I'm not 100% on that, but I think that's what, if I recall, that's what it is.
Okay.
Is that it's a tax issue. However, find a way to make this fucking work.
Yeah.
Because the next generation of gaming may be on those PC storefronts. You probably want to make sure that you're not shackled from the start.
And they are new to the PC, so you're gonna have these blunders like this.
Yeah, it's true. But it's something that they need to try to fix because we saw with the Xbox One generation, these things are remembered by people.
Yeah. Like
you could definitely see like PlayStation's PC brand being hurt for this going forward. But we'll see. I don't know. So now we're gonna get back a little bit more in Xbox. Again, a lot of Xbox news today. Sarah Bond does confirm that every first-party game will launch on Game Pass still, including Call of Duty. In an interview with Bloomberg that she did again, Sarah Bond confirmed that every first-party game, including Call of Duty, will still launch on Game Pass. The new interview with Bloomberg's Dina Bass discussed a lot of topics, but she asked about... Bond said, the last piece is about Game Pass. We know our core users love Game Pass. Game Pass is a gaming subscription. You get a whole portfolio of games, but importantly, you get every single one of the games we build day one in Game Pass. And the quality and the breadth of those games has only been going up over time. You're going to see some more really big games going into Game Pass later this year. Dina asks, from Activision's portfolio? Sarah says, across the whole slate. Across the whole slate, you're going to see some really amazing things. And keeping that as something really special for Xbox players is essential to us. So it does seem like Call of Duty is going to become the Game Pass because she kind of reiterates all across the whole slate. Everything's coming.
Yeah.
Let's just run through.
They drop all of the games at once. You think?
I think in June at the showcase they're going to drop all the older Call of Duties, including Modern Warfare 3. and then starting this November or whenever October, it'll be on Game Pass. Now, will it stay on Game Pass? I don't know. It depends on the numbers. We'll see how their numbers do.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Speaking of numbers, Devro, shocker. You're going to be really shocked about this. Are you ready?
All right.
Warner Brothers says that the failure of Suicide Squad, it's officially considered a flop. Contributed to $200 million hit to their revenue. Reporting its Q1 financial results, Warner Brothers Discovery said its games revenue declined significantly as a result of tough comparison with last year's best-selling video game Hogwarts Legacy. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League generated significantly lower revenues compared to those generated by Hogwarts Legacy during the same 3-month period. Remember, Warner Brothers is the company that said, hey, we want to make more games like Suicide Squad and less like Hogwarts. Yeah. And then they're sitting here talking to the shareholders and they're like, well, Hogwarts Legacy made more money.
I'm still shocked.
But the shareholders, Devro. The shareholders. Oh my god. I fucking hate the shareholders. Anyways, yeah, it lost them $200 million. In revenue.
That hurts.
Live service games are live service games. What can you do? Number 9. There may be a GTA 6 announcement coming soon. Could Rockstar be prepping for an announcement for GTA 6? According to keen-eyed fans online, again, the sickos, that might just be the case. All over social media, fans have been posting what appeared to be updates to the official GTA 6 website. These updates, which come months after the game's first reveal, took place both front and back end of the website and included areas for screenshots for the game. Doing more digging on brought up what appears to be placeholders for 4 screenshots, as well as the game's cover art. The data was found via Rockstar Games API with available JSON data. After it was found, Rockstar reverted the look and front end of the game's website to hide the section. Insider Gaming was able to verify both the initial updates to the website as well as the change back. So, we could be getting some stuff. Take-Two does have their next earnings call in 3 days on May 16th. Now, I actually did notice something very interesting today. The GTA 6 trailer, now it may have always been this way and I just don't remember it, but the GTA 6 trailer is now titled GTA 6 Trailer 1.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it was always like that.
I
don't think so either. But so, that titling it 1 implies that there's going to be a 2.
Probably a story trailer, I assume.
I would
hope so. More in depth. I don't think we see the gameplay trailer for a little bit.
I don't know. Maybe. You never know. We'll see. Maybe a Key 3, Jeff Keighley's E3 event. I had some layoffs today as well. Number 10, the headlines, layoffs. Square Enix confirms U.S. and Europe layoffs. We talked about Square Enix earlier. President Takashi Kiryu said that both the company's American and European arms would be hit with the layoffs, which will happen over the course of the next month. The scale was not shared, but it's going to be for people working in publishing, IT, and Square Enix Collective Indie Games Division will be predominantly affected. There were also layoffs at Lightforge Games. As the latest studio hit the ongoing struggles of gaming industry, the team is downsizing to a skeleton crew at the end of May and pausing the development of Project Orcs, the studio's first game. The news comes after a lengthy period of investor forums and publisher meetings, all of which resulted in the inability to secure funding to support the project moving forward. So, more terrible news with layoffs. Number 11, Assassin's Creed Infinity subscriptions may be a thing. A leaker named Jonathan on Twitter, who focuses on the famed Ubisoft franchise, states that an Assassin's Creed Infinite subscription may exist. In his tweet, Jonathan states that there is a major focus on microtransactions with Assassin's Creed Infinity, which is the hub.
Yeah.
It would give access to older Assassin's Creed titles if you're subscribed to the membership. Would offer up exclusive skins and items every month. And not sure the plans are finalized, but wanted to make it public to try... Oh, okay. So Jonathan is saying that he is breaking this news to try to get it public and get negative press to stop it.
Okay.
Okay, so and this is a translation. He says, if what I've been told is true, Infinity will be quite focused on microtransactions with a monthly subscription, a bit like Game Pass, which will give access to all the old AC games... Not sure about the new ones. future DLCs, one exclusive skin item per month. It wouldn't be surprising when we see how much Ubisoft has made the most of paid skins on Odyssey or Valhalla, but this could be worse. So it's just a like
I'm not even surprised.
Yeah, not really. It's gonna. I mean, the whole thing is it's gonna be a live service platform. So I don't know. Speaking of shitty things being done by developers, so this came up over the weekend. So Marvel Rivals, which is that arena Marvel shooter that we've been talking about, multiple creators asked for key codes to gain access to the playtest, and they were asked to sign a contract. The contract that they signed away their rights to negatively review the game. Many streamers signed without reading just to play, but so they signed to get the review code that they wouldn't negatively review it.
I would say no, but I guess you can't play the game if you say no. So.
Well, in ultimate corporate fashion, Marvel said, "We missed the mark. Ooh woo. We messed up. We made a mistake.
Yeah.
We're sorry." Their response was, "Dear Marvel Rivals players, today is the third day of the closed alpha test, and we are truly grateful for all the love and support from the community. We would like to take this opportunity to address the concerns we've seen regarding the agreement terms of content creator programs. And above all, we would like to apologize for any unpleasant experiences or doubts caused by the miscommunication of these terms. The Content Creator Program is a small-scale project that aims to aid in the production of incredible content by supporting creators through giving them more resources. We actively encourage creators to share their honest thoughts, suggestions, and criticisms as they play. All feedback, positive and negative, ultimately helps us craft the best experience for ourselves and the players. We sincerely apologize for the confusion, suspicion, and frustration caused by these excessively restrictive terms. Thank you for sharing with us. We cherish and appreciate every suggestion given by our players and always respect your feedback. We are currently working with creators who have expressed these concerns and are revising the current version to be less restrictive and more creator-friendly. Thank you for bearing with us while we make these adjustments. We hope you are enjoying the game so far, and we are always open to hearing your sincere thoughts and ideas how we can improve the game."
Alright.
Bullshit. No, fuck that. You put it in your contract.
Yeah.
You said, hey, if you want to play the game, you can't talk shit about my game. Like, I'm sorry, but like now it's just like, so I'm sick of corporations and companies saying we're sorry. Like, don't fucking do it.
Did they go back on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what they say in this. They're like, hey, we're listening to you. You know, we care what you have to say. We want to hear your sincere thoughts. So yeah, fuck them. I don't. All right, cool. I have no interest in that game. So
watching the gameplay of it, it looks like
Overwatch. It's Overwatch.
It's very Overwatch.
It's Overwatch.
And I think it'll be fine. You know, they're using Marvel characters in an Overwatch game. I think that's whatever.
Don't say anything bad. Don't do it.
All right.
It's great.
It's great.
It looks awesome. It looks like a great game.
Yeah.
My favorite part of the game was that it was a game that I played.
Yeah. One of the games of all time.
Oh, man. Devro, I'm sorry. You're a fan of Remedy, but they've canceled Project Kestrel. Remedy Entertainment has just confirmed the cancellation of Project Kestrel, a step taken so that the company can focus on other games in their portfolio. While little information was known about Kestrel, the game started life as a free-to-play multiplayer game that pivoted to become a premium offering. We've talked about it here on the show before, but it is now dead and buried right next to Watch Dogs.
I'm okay with it. Like, stick with your story games. I like their games. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Number 14. So we talked about the bird, right? And when the bird speaks, you gotta listen.
Mm-hmm. What did it say?
Well, the bird said, "Hey, remember that Nintendo World Championships from the NES? Interesting. Remember that tweet a few days passed, and then Nintendo out of nowhere announced the Nintendo World Championships NES edition." They revealed
Nintendo's looking for that bird.
Oh my god, they are like,
they are looking for that bird.
Look, Pioro, I love you. The work you do is incredible work, and the community loves you for it. Please stay safe. The Nintendo assassins are. Oh my god.
They're gonna show no mercy.
And he is like one of the most consistent, best Nintendo leakers, and like he just knows when the bird speaks, you listen. Like, I know sometimes you are like very like skeptical about like leakers and stuff. Mm-hmm. Rightfully so. You should definitely track record is the most important thing when it comes to leakers. But like Pioro does not miss. This guy, he comes out. He's like, hey, direct in a few days. Mario RPG coming out.
He's playing a dangerous game.
He's hiding from the Nintendo assassins. But anyways, Nintendo World Championship NES Edition is going to launch on July 18th. So originally I was like, okay, this sounds all right. I don't know if you have B-roll for the trailer, but so at the end they show. So it's gonna be it was like $30 for the digital, and $60 for the physical, right? And I'm like, this isn't really a game that interests me. And then I looked at like what's offered in the physical. Yeah. And like if you want to pull it up for the B-roll, go to the 2-minute 45 section and just pause it. And you're gonna see in a second to everyone listening or watching, this physical edition comes with a gold NES cartridge with one of the old NES like Nintendo sleeves.
What's it called again?
Nintendo World Championship NES Edition. So it comes with a gold NES cartridge, the Nintendo NES sleeve. It's like 8 like cards, but like they're titles for the NES games, and a pin set, and obviously the physical game itself. I pre-ordered this. Okay. The gold cartridge alone was like, yes, I want that gold NES cartridge. It is an incredible. So basically, the NES World Championship is, I mean, it's a fun product on its own. It's a bunch of NES games, and you can actually play them like with up to 6 players concurrently, where it's like who gets the best time. It's all going to be leaderboard based. That's it right there. If you want to pause it, but like yeah, there's the gold cartridge, the title cards for all the NES games that are featured in the game, the pin set right there.
Yeah, the pin set.
I was like, this is a sick, dope physical edition, and it's the cost of a regular premium title, $60. So, the eShop digital version's $30, but like again, like I was like, yeah, that's a cool special edition. So the bird was right. You know, always respect the bird. Speaking of the bird, Nintendo is ending Twitter support for Nintendo Switch. I would love for it to be like where they're like, oh, this stupid bird. The stupid bird keeps leaking all our stuff, and the people on Nintendo who have no idea what they're talking about are like, bird?
Get rid of it.
Twitter. Cut it. Yeah. Cut Twitter. Cut the bird app.
Start killing all the birds.
Cut the bird app. The bird tweets on the bird app, so get rid of the bird app on Switch. That was Nintendo's thought process. No, it's actually probably more so. Beginning on June 10th, users will no longer be able to upload images to the service directly from their Switch machines, and the Switch will no longer allow players to send friend requests to social media friends using Twitter integration.
And this is something Sony and Microsoft have already done, right? They've already removed integration for Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is just...
Some games with specific in-game functionality surrounding this feature will also change. The ability to post Super Smash Bros. Ultimate screenshots from the album folder to Smash World in the Switch Online smart device app, because yes, Nintendo is very complicated about this stuff, will also become unavailable. No, this is more so because Elon Musk charges companies $40,000 per month to access Twitter's API.
That too.
That's why Nintendo's not doing it. Yeah. We could joke about the bird, but that is why they're not doing it.
The idea of tweeting from your Switch is just, it's a mental image that
it's crazy. It's insane. All right, next up. I just want to start by saying that we do not make the news here. We simply report and discuss the news. Mm-hmm. Devro unofficial PC ports of Nintendo 64 games are about to get a lot easier to make. Ooh. Again, I'm just an aggregator of the news, Nintendo. Do not send any cease and desists my way.
I don't know. Are you associated with the bird?
I am aware of the bird. I am not the bird. I'm the bird. Pioro. Anyways, for the past few years, numerous fan-made decompilation projects have been in the works which attempt to reverse engineer the code of individual N64 games and turn them into C code, which they can be compiled into playable PC versions. However, developer WiseGuy has now created N64 Recompiled, a tool which automatically recompiles N64 binaries into C code in a fraction of the time. As explained in a YouTube video by Narelle, great YouTuber by the way, did a really good Majora's Mask video. N64 Recompiled has the potential to magically turn an N64 ROM into a runnable EXE in a matter of minutes. The video shows WiseGuy adding an N64 ROM to the tool, which then translated to C code ready for compiling in mere seconds. While emulators have allowed PC users to play N64 games for decades, not that I would know anything about that.
Okay.
The act of compiling PC ports for each game has numerous advantages, such as the ability to turn on improved frame rate, ultra-wide support, 4K resolutions, and ray tracing. Again, I know nothing.
All right.
I don't know. ROM. Who?
You're Rome. What are you?
I'm Rome. Yeah, you're missing an E there. You're missing an E. The belief is that if the shield helps, if the shield helps the project somewhat from legal ramifications, reverse engineering projects such as these are technically made legal because the developers involved do not use any leaked content or copyrighted assets. As Narelle points out, because WiseGuy's decompiled code doesn't use game assets either, he could supply each port pre-built, meaning players wouldn't have to use the tool to do their own conversions and would instead just have to supply their own game ROM file.
So what he's saying is he's creating an emulator that doesn't use...
What makes an emulator illegal?
And people just have to show up with their ROMs and...
Well, you know.
Whatever happens, happens. He didn't...
Yeah, I didn't look at it. I don't know, man. I don't know. But so, hey, man, you know, full decompilation project of Majora's Mask has been ongoing for a number of months at Harbor Masters, who previously released a PC port of Ocarina of Time. Harbor Masters announced in November 2023 that it had decompiled Majora's Mask and was now working on the PC port. Meanwhile, WiseGuy says his tool let him create a fully working PC port of Majora's Mask in 2 days.
I mean, where else can you get these games?
That's a great question, Devro. Devro, let me ask you a question, Devro. This is your weekly reminder, folks. Where would I go if I wanted to play Pokemon Emerald and I wanted to support Nintendo through official channels? Where would I go to do that?
You had me until you said official.
Yeah, I know. Do you have an answer?
Well,
No.
I mean, it should be on the Switch store, right? I know they have like a whole Game Boy. You know, it should be up there by now. It's one of their biggest IPs. I mean, I think it... You know? No?
No.
Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your weekly reminder that there is no legal way to officially support Nintendo and pay for Pokemon games pre-Switch era. There's no way. It's literally not possible. Emulation or secondary market is your only choices.
What you gonna do?
So what are you going to do? Sorry, Nintendo. Why don't you put the games out? And then people can support the official release. Anyways, 4K Majora's Mask sounds incredible. But, you know, I'm not going to touch it. Next up, Devro, Last of Us fans are not happy about leaked Season 2 set photos. Again, we're just going to kind of run through some of these smaller stories. So basically, Dev, people are upset because a shot of Bella Ramsey, who plays Ellie, she doesn't look any older, really, because, I mean...
Yeah.
But the problem is, in the games, there is a jump between... like about 5 years between the games. So people are upset because this Ellie should be like 18, 19, based off the contents of what happens in the show.
Yeah, it's fine. When I was watching it, before I watched the show, when I was watching the trailers, my whole thing was like, she looks too old to play Ellie as younger.
See, I don't think that at all. But I do.
After watching it, I was fine with it. But I did think she looked too young to play Ellie, and now people are complaining that she doesn't look old enough. It's fine.
I think fans are upset because they wanted her. They thought that she should have been recast.
Because where the show ended, still in game 1, right? They're still in the first game.
Well, based off a lot of things that they're saying, the second season will probably be in the second game. I think the first season... what do you mean,
they
how?
They didn't finish.
Yeah,
right?
They did. Yeah, they did, pretty much.
They did? Okay.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did.
The hospital scene and everything at the end happened? I don't know why I don't remember that. But
yeah, you don't remember... you don't remember him shooting up that hospital?
No, honestly, I don't really...
yeah, well, anyways, people are upset because...
She doesn't look older?
No, she doesn't look older.
It's fine. They gotta make... it's whatever.
Alright, next up, number 18 on the headlines, State of Decay 3 is coming along very nicely over at Xbox. We're going to get into some positive Xbox news, Devro, here towards the end of the show. Right. State of Decay 3 is one Xbox title that we've heard basically nothing about since its announcement back in 2020. However, a new rumor from Windows Central's Jez Corden suggests that the game is shaping up rather nicely over at Xbox. Talking on a recent episode of the Xbox 2 podcast, Corden said he's willing to put out there that the Undead Labs' State of Decay 3 looks very, very, very good on the road to release. In the past, we've heard damning discussions about the developer and its work on State of Decay. It's nice to see some positivity surrounding the development. Maybe we'll see it next month, in June 9th, at the Xbox Showcase. But it's apparently coming along very nicely.
Okay.
Number 19 on the headlines, Warner Brothers. This is an update of a story we've done a few weeks ago. They are U-turning on their decision to delist indie games published by Adult Swim. Deary said that Owen Deary, who was the developer of the game Small Radios, Big Televisions, was set to be delisted. The game was published in November 2016 by Adult Swim, which is now known by WBD. Deary said he was informed by Warner Brothers that the game was going to be delisted. However, he recently posted on Twitter that Warner Brothers changed its mind and that the game will soon be his to do what he wants with. Let's see here. It basically says, update, the game will not be retired. Ownership and store listings will return to me. Other indie developers have been reporting similar news, so it seems like they're getting the rights to their games back, so they won't be delisted.
That's cool.
All right. Number 20, more positivity for Xbox. Obsidian has won a pretty important award. As Obsidian's Pentiment has won a Peabody Award. The Peabody Awards have expanded its awarded categories to recognize storytelling achievements across interactive, immersive, and new media categories, including gaming, interactive journalism, virtual reality, augmented reality, social video, interactive documentary, transmedia storytelling, and more. In 2022, the Peabody Awards Interactive Board of Jurors unveiled a distinguished legacy class of winners that demonstrate the depth of these digital formats. And Pentiment won a Peabody Award, which is a very distinguished award, as we were talking about. This is their 84th annual awards.
Okay.
So, kudos to Pentiment. Hopefully you don't get shut down. I'm sorry, was that negative? Was that too negative?
No.
Okay, good. God of War Ragnarok is getting a PC port announcement soon. It's going to be the next one. It's going to be announced sometime in May 2024. So look forward to that. Lastly, on the news docket, two little tidbits about some Xbox games. Perfect Dark.
I don't believe it.
I know, but I'm just reporting the news. So Perfect Dark is rumored for the Xbox Showcase as positive feedback begins cropping up. So last week, actually, Devro, it would have been a totally different story we were talking about because Phillies just tied it up. That's incredible. Anyway, sorry. Perfect Dark. There were rumors last week that the game was in bad shape.
Yeah. Which, I do believe that. Every time...
Now, to be fair, Jeff Grubb has kind of come back. He was the one that said this to me initially, and he kind of said, like, hey, like, just because someone told me this at one point doesn't mean it's true now. Okay. Like,
I didn't know that.
He did do an update a little bit. So he's hearing... Okay, sorry. Let me get back on track here. Jeff Grubb of Giant Bomb revealed that after speaking to more sources, he's now hearing mixed feedback, with plenty of people saying that it actually looks really good right now. Some people definitely think, yeah, there's things that don't look great and are in rough shape, but just as many, if not more, now that I've had the chance to talk to even more people, think it looks really good and thinks it's coming together. Jeff isn't the only person who's commented on this. YouTuber Nate the Hate suggested that the original rumors might have stemmed from an outdated information. He's heard that the game is not in that bad of a state. Both Grubb and Nate the Hate are now suggesting that the Perfect Dark could show up at the showcase next month in June. For what it's worth, Jeff Grubb says he still knows of a dev who thinks it's in rough shape, hence his original comments. Jeff's also someone who has a great track record with this kind of thing, so we take notice when he shares inside information. So according to Jeff Grubb, a lot of people are telling him it's in good shape. One developer he's talked to said it's in bad shape. So I don't know.
This game.
There's a lot riding on this game.
There's a lot. When this game comes out, it needs to be on GTA level in terms of bigness. Everything they put into this, they're calling it a quadruple A game. I was so excited when I heard we were both excited when we heard
when Perfect Dark came back. Yeah,
just the team.
They're building the Avengers of game developers.
Yeah, so this game has a lot riding on it. It needs to be. We'll see. I don't know. I still don't believe it. This game doesn't exist until a year after it comes out.
I mean, again, show me. So we're just reporting on the news. I want to see it. So hopefully we see it in June. All right. And then last on the news headlines, a new Doom game could be revealed at the Xbox Showcase in June as well. Plans for a Doom reveal at the event were seemingly heavily implied in a recent report published by The Verge's Tom Warren. He was talking about the upcoming showcase, and he said, quote, Microsoft will be banking on some new game announcements lifting the Doom around Xbox. Okay. And he capitalized the word Doom. You get it?
Yeah.
You get it? Eurogamer subsequently reported that it's heard Microsoft has a Doom announcement lined up for the event. These reports coincide with the emergence of a recently filed trademark which may be linked to a new Doom game. Filed in January by Bethesda parent ZeniMax Media, the trademark is titled IDKFA, a cheat code in id Software's classic Doom. Last summer leaked a court document, and there was a planned Doom game on that Bethesda roadmap from 2020.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll see. But that's also another rumor that's kind of floating around right now.
We gotta see it.
We do. And that is the game news for the week. Dev, let's get into the game releases for this week. The week of May 13th. Coming out today, we have Homeworld 3 for PC. Biomutant comes out on Switch tomorrow, May 14th. Dread Delusion also comes out on PC tomorrow, May 14th. Bulletins comes out on PC May 15th. Please Fix the Road. This is an interesting one. We'll get to why in a second.
Okay, I see it twice on
Yeah. Please Fix the Road comes out on the Xbox consoles on May 15th. Slayers X Terminal Aftermath Vengeance of the Slayer comes out on PlayStation consoles and Switch on May 15th. Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut comes out on PC on May 16th. Lorelei and the Laser Eyes comes out on Switch and PC on May 16th. Please Fix the Road comes out on the other consoles, PlayStation 4, 5, and Switch on May 16th.
Okay.
Not sure why. There's a day difference, but there is.
Okay.
No idea why. Read Only Memories Neurodiver comes out on PS5, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on May 16th. And Indica comes out on PS5 and Xbox Series on May 17th. Devro, what is your pick of the week?
I have gameplay of it up right now. Lorelei and Laser Eye.
Okay.
I remember we saw a trailer for this a while back.
Yeah.
I like puzzle games. That's my thing. I like the aesthetic of this. It's just like very dark.
Mm-hmm.
With like a pink and a red color. I don't know. I like it. But yeah, that's my game. I'm probably not going to play it if I'm being completely honest. Mm-hmm. But that's the game I'm choosing. So
a game for me, my pick of the week is a game that, looking into it further, seemed very interesting. And that's Indica. I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing it right. Okay. But this is a really interesting looking title. It's a third person, very heavy narrative game where you play as like a nun and you're going on like some sort of like adventure and like your companion is the devil himself or something. Like It just sounds really interesting. It looks really interesting. And so it's my pick for the week. I don't think I'm going to be picking it up, but it's definitely going to be going on to my wish list. Yeah, for sure. You can pull it up. Next week's a really great week for games. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pick just one next week. But
not India gameplay.
No, not India. IND.
Yeah, I got it.
IKA.
Auto-corrected to India.
Don't click it again. Jesus. Yeah, that's the second one right there. Yeah. Oh, that's the whole game? I guess the game's already on PC. Yeah, I saw a lot of hype kind of buzzing around this morning about it, and I looked into it a little bit, and I was like, this looks very interesting. I'm very intrigued by this. Um, so let's see if we can get some gameplay going. But yeah, so it's definitely a title that's interesting me, and it's gonna be my pick for the week.
You recently finished Final Fantasy, right?
I did.
What do you think? Just like first thoughts.
So my final thoughts on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. While you have this B-roll playing, which by the way looks incredible.
Yeah, it looks incredible.
Yeah, I want to play it. I don't even want to speak over it. It just looks that impressive.
It reminds me of. I mean, so far in this trailer, remember the Medium?
Yeah. Medium ended up being kind of meh. Yeah, very mid. Very medium game. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, we can move over to what we've been playing to end up close out the show. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, a game that I spent about 90 hours in. If I were to score it, I give it like a high 8, low 9. As the hours went on, I definitely started to fall out of love with it, but that was not really because of the length of the game itself. More so the amount of it felt like extra bullshit that they put in it.
And you went for a completionist gameplay.
So I was. So here's the thing. I did this kind of like a light completion. What I consider a light completion. In fact, no, because it's really a finish. Because I didn't do one of the side quests. I kind of gave up on it because they have a relationship system in the game, and you're supposed to kind of like, you do things in a certain way to influence 2 chapters later in the game, and I played in a specific way to make sure I got the cutscenes and got the outcomes that I wanted. I specifically played a way, and I didn't get it because of how stupid the system is. There's a lot to get into, and I don't want to go too in depth with it because it gets a little spoilery, but basically I got screwed, and there were like, I even went back on some save files and like I couldn't get it to work. I definitely spent like an extra 20 hours that aren't like accounted for in my playtime, just like reloading saves and trying to figure stuff out. Well, I'm not 20, maybe like 10. But
a lot.
Yeah, but I was like, man, no, this was a complete, like, I just felt ripped off by that. Other than that, I was really annoyed by just the amount of mini games and the amount of padding that are in the game, like late game. I think, like, I love Queen's Blood, so it's like I can't get mad at them for trying new things with these mini games. But for like every Queen's Blood, there's like 2 mini games where it's like I really never want to play this ever again. And it's just, they put way too much stuff in this game. Not even from a scale perspective, just from like how many different mini game bullshit stuff is that there is in this game. So I ended up not really enjoying the later half of my time playing the game for that reason. And then I just felt like, as much as I love the main story, which I absolutely do, I know some people hate some things about the ending, which
it's understandable.
I get why they hate it, and I don't know exactly where I fall on with it. I mean, it makes sense considering that there's another game. And I'm not going to really spoil it too much. I mean, I guess I can. There's a lot of multiverse bullshit, which we already know from the first Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Which I didn't even know about until this game.
Oh, it's very Yeah, they changed the course of the storyline in the first game. And the second game does that as well to an extent. Where it's just like, the way they do it, I get it. But like, it is kind of weird. It's a very weird ending. But like, they're setting up for another one. So like, I gotta let it play out.
Yeah.
Because they have the entire vision. I don't. So yeah, for me, it's like a high 8, low 9. I really loved it. I loved a lot about it. The mini games, there was too much. I thought it had a really bad relationship system that really left me feeling burned on it. And then yeah, I just think some parts of the main quest, like late in the main quest, I was like, man, we are just really just killing time. Or like, what are we doing? Like, all right, we're just kind of not doing anything right now. Let's try to speed this up. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. And then since then, I've played, like I was saying earlier, kind of a few Game Pass hits, playing some Dordogne, which was a really, really nice game. Really enjoyed that. And then right now I'm playing Age of Empires Definitive Edition on my PC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I figured, I wanted to get a PC title in this year. Well, not this year, but like this month, and so.
So I assume you're playing a lot of light games because we have a game coming up in 8 days that we're both want to play. So
Yeah, I am trying to keep it something of a like a Age of Empires right now is something that I'm playing.
is that your side game kind of thing? Or?
Well, right now it's the only game I'm playing.
Okay.
But when next week comes out, if I'm not done it, it's going to be shelved.
Okay.
But yeah, my plan right now over the next 8 days is to keep it relatively light.
How are you liking Age of Empires?
Well, so I'm playing the first one. It definitely has a little bit of show its age a little bit. There's some levels that I was getting like really frustrated with just because kind of bullshit. But I mean, I'm enjoying it. I mean, I like RTSs. I don't think I'm particularly very good at RTSs. It's a franchise or not franchise. It's a genre that I've always like loved and admired, but I'm just not very good at. So I'm just kind of doing my thing. Admittedly, I'm kind of messing around with some cheat codes, having some fun with it. For me, it's more of a fun thing, and then the achievements aren't locked by cheat codes.
Okay.
So, like, I'm playing it, but at the same time, I'm like, oh, what if I had these spacemen with lasers killing all these prehistoric Egyptian soldiers? It's fun, I'm just having a good time with it.
I've been playing...
Yeah, what have you been playing? You've been playing stuff.
Yeah, I've been playing... Inside was one of my favorite games, so I had to play the two games that, came after it.
Right.
They were kind of split. So I played Somerville and I played Cocoon.
I saw you got the 1,000 gamer score on Somerville.
Yeah, I played Somerville first.
That's really good.
I'm trying to... I don't even remember... There wasn't really anything, like, hidden or, like...
I mean, there were some hidden achievements. I had to look up some guys for some of the stuff.
I had to go back... After I finished it, I only had to go back for one achievement, which was, like, just...
All the color stuff. All the color stuff, too. I mean, at the end, did you have all that color stuff? I was going to say, yeah.
I had to do all that.
Yeah, because there was a lot. I needed a guide for the color stuff. There was a lot of color. Like, that stuff was crazy.
Yeah. I'm mixed on that game. I like the aesthetic.
I was underwhelmed by it. Yeah.
Yeah. It was very underwhelming. I didn't have. I guess
It wasn't the game you thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it wasn't the game.
No, yeah, that was what happened with me too.
I was expecting something more like Inside, more like even. What's the one they did before Inside?
Limbo.
I was expecting something more like that, and yeah, it was very linear. I liked the gameplay of it. I thought it was cool, the powers and everything. But
yeah, there was definitely some great moments, and it's a good game, really solid game. I thought it was going to take that genre to the next level when I first saw it.
Yeah, I thought so too.
And it doesn't do that.
On the other hand, the game that does, Cocoon, I was obsessed with that game. I could not put that game down. I started the game and I played it all the way through. I played it for like 6 or 8 hours. Mm-hmm. That is a great game. How do you even develop for a game like that? It's insane. I saw that you played it too.
I haven't played it.
You haven't? Okay.
No, I haven't. It's on my backlog. It's on Game Pass, so.
It's a puzzle game.
You love those puzzle games.
It is. Yeah, it's very mind bending because like, I can't explain it too much. There's not really a story that's in your face. They have like a story in the background. It's such a good game. It's a really good game.
Right.
I like it so much more than Somerville.
And it's funny because those two games were made by the studio.
Yeah,
and they split off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one went more story based, one went more gameplay based, and the gameplay based one is just it's so much better.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Somerville kind of did underperform. Like it didn't meet my expectations, but it was a good game, solid game that I played last year. But yeah, hey man, I'm glad that you're getting some more game time in.
Right now I'm playing the crab game.
Yeah, what is it called? Another Crab's Treasure, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if it's okay for now. I don't know if I'm gonna beat
You're just keeping it light for next week.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna keep it light. I'm playing smaller games for now.
Right.
I think this is like a 20-hour game, so maybe I'll have it done by then.
Yeah, that's generally what I'm doing too. Like I said, Age of Empires. I'm having a good time with it, but I'm fully expecting if I'm not done with it in 8 days, which I don't think I will be, but we'll see. I'm expecting to be putting it down and shelving it. Because there's 2 games at least. I think there's actually 3 games I'm interested in next week if I have the releases correctly, but there's 2 that are...
What are the 3 that you're thinking of?
I forget what was I was looking at it today. I'm so mad at myself because I mentioned it. I should have like... Well,
one is Senua.
One is Hellblade 2.
Yeah.
Paper Mario.
Oh, Paper Mario.
And then there was a third one. Oh, hold on. I got to look at it now that I mentioned it. When I was doing the script earlier, that's why I remember saying like, oh, this is a game 2 comes out next week? Wow. Hold on. System Shock is making its console debut next week. That's another game that I really care about.
Okay.
So those are 3 games that I'm really interested in that are coming out next week.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, we'll talk more about those games next week. Hopefully,
Probably in 2 weeks because it's coming out on the 21st, right?
That's true. That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. But we'll be getting hyped for those games next week, and hopefully we can get through this week without more bad Xbox news. I mean, again, I'm going down with the ship. I'm one of those guys playing on the band on the Titanic where it's just like going down. It is what it is. Look, GTA 6, the series finale of video games, is coming out next year, and whatever happens, happens. It's all over after that. We just got to get to GTA 6.
All right.
And then after that, I'll go off into the mountains. I'll retire. I'll just start playing all the games that are in the game room.
We'll see how long.
We're gonna shift the game room podcast to be about the actual games in the game room. Where it's like, hey guys, this week we're talking about this game.
That'll be cool.
Yeah. You never know. I mean, honestly, if I get sick of bullshit video game news, we're just gonna repurpose the podcast.
You won't get sick of it. You'll suffer. You'll suffer all the way to the end, and you know you will.
Can't go no more, boss. I'm tired, boss. I'm tired.
All right, let's wrap up. I'm hungry.
Yeah, let's wrap up. This has been episode 64 of the Game Room Podcast. Thank you for checking us out here tonight, whether you're watching live or you're checking us out on the replay. Make sure you subscribe. Check out some of our other podcasts. Get our thoughts on other things. You can go back and find all the things that Devro says that he doesn't say. They're back there. I'm sorry I don't have the actual links. There's a lot of episodes to keep track of. But you can find these things if you do the due diligence. They do exist. Make sure you join our Discord. You can find it in the description down below. You can follow me on Twitter. You can find us there. So until next week, we will see you guys later.